Then say, because it's Donald Trump Jr., because he's an outspoken
Listen, this is
guy,
not a MAGA
to then
rally,
create
okay?
why was there no outrage when Drudge Report, which is a major...
You guys are here. We're going to get to Triggered the book in a moment and your relationship, but you did something that triggered a lot of people yesterday, including myself, by releasing the name of the whistleblower. The whistleblower whose complaint has now led to impeachment hearings. The whole point of releasing a name is to intimidate someone, to threaten someone, and to scare other people from coming out. That's something that dictators do. I've lived in China. I've seen that firsthand. That's not what America does. That's not who we do. We stand by our people. Why did you want to release the name?
Listen, Abby, I think... It's a fair question. You know, I think the reality of the answer is the whistleblower's name was on a little website called The Drudge Report a couple of days ago. It was in Real Clear Politics. I literally quote tweeted an article that had the guy's name in the title of the article. So that whole thing is nonsense, but I wish the outrage would be equal. I mean, there was no outrage when, my family got an exploding letter of, with white powder substance in it. They're protecting a guy, in the CIA, and there's great outrage, but when your family gets something, it's there. And that's a big part of the book, which is, it's not a level playing field in terms of outrage. We do live in an outrage culture.
But he asked to be anonymous. Your family did not. There's a difference.
But it was literally millions of people, and for days he's been out there in the media.
But does that make it right?
So what's the difference between me tweeting about it?
It's different when the president's son does it, though, isn't it?
Why? I mean, I'm a private citizen putting this out there. If everyone in this room could have read this, I don't see any difference whatsoever. The reality is, it seems to me, and again, my point of view on this, it seems to me that everyone is outraged that his name is out there because now people are saying, okay, he's tied to Joe Biden while Joe Biden was working in the White House. He has ties to Brennan, who's been leading the cabal on Trump. It's not, let's be honest about what it is.
But just to be clear, that's not why I'm outraged. I'm outraged because I care about diplomacy in this country. I care about how we protect the people when they see a wrongdoing, that they go through the proper political channels and they are protected for doing that. So you can say that whatever outlet released it.
Let's not kid ourselves.
But the name has been out there for 5 days.
But that doesn't make it right.
But nevertheless,
But Abby, you guys, ABC is right now chasing down a whistleblower about all of the Epstein stuff because those stories were killed. So if we're going to have the conversation about the outrage about whistleblowers, you work with CBS stuff. You work with CBS to out a whistleblower who came up with a story that's kind of shady.
This is not
Can we stick to?
No, but you work with them. That broke this morning.
Can we stick to what she asked in the question? Just because if we start getting off on 50...
But my point is one of hypocrisy. And again, a big part of why I wrote the book is because there's so much hypocrisy out there. Now, I understand that the mainstream media is left-leaning. I don't think anyone's ever debated that or doubted that for a long time. But they've gotten rid of the pretense of objectivity at this point. There is no, they're like, you know what, we're just going to be the marketing wing of the other side.
Just let me, if you talk about hypocrisy, you seem fine with people leaking information if it makes you and your father look good, because WikiLeaks
this has been
and
going
Julian
on for the other side
is
forever.
a cyber terrorist, right? And I think a Russian puppet. You are fine promoting his stuff and your dad praising him on the campaign trail if it makes you look good. So how is this whistleblower who went through the right channels, how are you now releasing his name and putting his life in danger, but WikiLeaks was doing the right thing?
If I can, just first, thank you so much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. So here's the thing. There's a lot of context to, and I hear what you're saying. It's a fair enough question because he may be a private citizen, but nevertheless, he is the son of the president of the United States.
And a campaign surrogate.
And he's somebody who works as a campaign surrogate, but not officially, with the campaign. But nevertheless, when you look at this facts and you look at the circumstance, you look at, in fact, even on this show, the first day after the election, they said, and now let's start with impeachment. This has been something that's been going, it's been a concerted effort by a lot of people who are disappointed by the results of the election to undo it and remove a duly elected president of the United States, number one. Number two, when you look, well, it was on this show on November 9th.
No, actually, it wasn't.
You guys talked about impeachment.
We've had all kinds of... Wait, I listened. Now I'm asking for the same.
Sure.
We are an opinion show.
Correct.
That's what we do.
Correct.
What you seem to have done and feels very disingenuous because you can't say I'm a private citizen and yet you're in the middle of all of this. You brought to the FBI folks, everybody talked to you. You're part of this. So when you release a name like that, even if it was out for 10 days or 20 days. You have to know that people, if you were talking about the white powder that your family got, this guy's family's getting the same thing. And why is it okay for one and not both? Either we shouldn't be doing
know
it.
that that's actually happening to him, first and
Well,
foremost.
we don't know that it happened to you.
But
we're taking your name. We're taking your...
It was reported.
It was a case.
I'm sorry. Stop yelling. Stop yelling.
Not to yell. I can
We
He's
can
loud.
hear
It's
you.
like a miracle ear for
But
Christmas.
Kimberly, you're a lawyer.
Yes.
And we've known
Yeah.
each other. You were a former
Absolutely.
prosecutor. I mean, did you advise your boyfriend that it is a federal crime to out a whistleblower?
I didn't advise him that it was a federal crime, but I did come out of the bathroom and say, I left you alone for 10 minutes. What happened when Mamacita's gone? Because
Yeah.
by the
Well, it's not a federal
Floyd's
crime.
reason.
It's only a federal crime for
However,
the IG to do it. That's
Yeah.
in the statute.
Well,
so that's you
well, no,
can't.
that's
but
not
that's the
true.
point. You can't
That's
run
a
with
lie.
it. It is not.
She's
true.
Let me show you the
That's
other
not
side.
true.
Let me show you the
Under
other side of
US
this.
Code
Okay, stop. Everybody stop. It's hard to hear.
Under
Really,
U.S.
So
Code
finish
Section
that.
1505, it is a crime.
It's not accurate. Just ask Rand Paul. He went
My
to
law
great
degree
detail
says
on
it is,
the other.
but nevertheless.
But he's not
my-
the individual
my-
that first
But my question is,
Yeah.
you did speak to him about that.
I talked to him, no, not prior to. After I said, oh, what happened? He said, well, they're saying that I released this and I outed. But if you look at the facts, and the facts are that the name was out there, I'm not saying, okay, I understand what you're saying, that perhaps, okay, it wasn't the most prudent decision to retweet an article. But I'm going to tell you something. When we talk about transparency, the President of the United States released the transcript of exactly what happened in that phone call.
Yeah.
The whistleblower is giving his opinion or her opinion
Right.
of what transpired.
I'd like to talk about that,
You get what I'm
actually.
saying?
Yeah. I'd like to talk about that.
That's out there to say. He's not trying to hide
ahead.
anything.
I'd-
And thank
Go ahead,
God he
son.
transcribed it.
I'd like to
So
talk
now we
about
know
that.
the truth.
Actually, let me ask you, do you regret retweeting that?
Why does he,
I don't think I should have to forego my First Amendment rights. I didn't want to create hysteria, but if I'm reading an article, be like, oh, the name's out there. I didn't even realize
you
that
knew
this
what you
thing's
were
some
doing.
sort of
So you
big
don't-
sort
you
of
don't
secret.
regret doing that?
I don't regret doing it. No, I don't
Okay.
think I should have to forego my First
right,
Amendment
but it-
rights. It's out there. I read it in an article. I've been reading it for a week. I saw it on the Drudge Report. Like, this is not some secret, but to then say, because it's Donald Trump Jr., because he's an
Listen,
outspoken
this is
guy,
not a MAGA
to then
rally,
create
okay?
why was there no outrage when Drudge Report, which is a major website, probably
down.
the largest aggregator of media news in America, he puts it out there a few days ago, and no, crickets, no problem with that.
Because
Come on, guys,
probably
like,
not a lot of people knew that it was out there. But once you put it out,
on Drudge.
but here's
Billions of people see
yes,
Drudge
but
a day.
I'm saying
Come
to
on.
you, listen, man, I don't know how many people here read the Drudge Report. I don't know, but I'm saying a lot more people know your name than know the Drudge Report.
that's a
You're
fair point.
assuming.
He
I
has
know
a
it's a
high
fair
profile.
point.
Let's move on.
I understand.
Move on.
I want to talk about the memo of the call, because I don't believe it's a transcript. In the memo of the call that was released from the White House between your father and the Ukraine president, your father said, I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot and Ukraine knows a lot about it. And we have the entire part of the memo here. The other thing, there's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with the Attorney General would be great. This is the basis of the impeachment inquiry. Why is that a sham?
The whole
Which is
thing,
what you're calling
first of
it.
all, because nothing was withheld. The other guy on the other side actually said, I have no idea what you're talking about. No one knew any aid
What do you
was
mean
even
nothing
being
was
withheld. The other guy in the Ukraine, in terms of aid being withheld. So no one knew about these
But
things.
that's not true. That's a lie. Military aid was withheld.
Yeah.
Yes.
No one knew
Not
about
as-
it in the
no,
Ukraine.
not
So
as a
there
quid pro
there
quo.
was no quid pro quo. You see all the other
wasn't.
aspects of
That's
this
a
coming
lie.
out.
It was withheld.
There's been no prima facie case made whatsoever for impeachment. The transcript is there. The witnesses are coming forward. And there was no
So you have a
bipartisan
lot of
support
opinion
for
going-
that hearing
But Kimberly, the
going forward.
military aid was
One at a
withheld.
time.
But not because of that reason.
And again, the other
and the
side
nexus and
didn't
the
even
time
know that it
frame,
was
the
withheld at
timeline
the
has
time.
been
Can I
clearly
ask you
demonstrated.
this?
But that's a
That's not the
lie.
case.
There have been
Can I ask
several
you this then?
ambassadors that have testified
Then-
And there's others that have testified
that the
they had no
military
idea
aid
that
was
there was any
withheld.
quid pro
Let me
quo
ask you this.
whatsoever.
We have to go to a
Did
break.
Gordon Sondland lie then when he changed his
Wait.
testimony yesterday?
Well, I don't know why he changed his testimony. It's sort of interesting. It almost, he says something.
He's afraid of
on the
perjury.
record.
He's afraid of going to jail.
Or he's afraid of being attacked, like so many of us have for so long, by a vicious left that's running a
Oh,
one-sided
please.
sham thing.
Let's go to a
By
break.
Adam Schiff, who's doing a one-sided thing. Republicans can't ask questions. They can't do anything.
Children. Stop yourself.
Donald Trump Jr. going into the lion's den today in a fiery showdown on The View. The president's son clashing with the Trump-hating co-hosts over attacking the whistleblower. Take a look.
I think the reality of the answer is the whistleblower's name was on a little website called The Drudge Report a couple days ago. It was in Real Clear Politics. I literally quote tweeted an article that had the guy's name in the title of the article. So that whole thing is
Does that make
nonsense,
it
but
right?
I wish the outrage would be equal.
And then it got wild when the conversation turned to civility.
You've worn blackface. Whoopi,
No,
you
I
said
haven't.
that Roman Polanski...
not.
I'm sorry, and don't, if
you
you
said
do
that
it...
Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape when he raped a child. So let's
okay,
talk about
so yeah, no,
serious
let's
things.
talk
Come on,
about
that's
this. So
not
you
fair.
want to bring this up? The question came up.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
Well, I think she had said at the time that she had darkened her skin.
She was wearing blackface, okay? And she tried to get out of it, and he nailed her, and I loved it. I loved watching him nail her and hitting on the hypocrisy. She also said something that people kind of overlooked. She said that comedians have a special exemption for free speech. She was defending, she was saying, oh, no, you can't say that. Only comics can say that. That's BS. Comedians don't have special rights that other people don't. And Joy Behar, you call yourself a comedian? Then we all can call each other comedians.
All right, Juan, what did you think about it today? Everyone was watching all over the country. It was probably the most watched thing besides this show.
Well, you know me, Jesse. I wasn't watching, but I've heard about everybody's talking about it, and I think from what I hear from conservatives, Don Jr. did great. They are delighting in the fact that he went into the Lions' Den and he called them out and he threw mud at him and he escaped. I think there are points at which he didn't look very strong, but you know what? Credit to Don Jr., right?
Yeah, that's tough venue to be in. And Tulsi Gabbard was also there, and there was a nice little exchange that she had. Let's watch.
The previous day.
Yes.
Some of you have accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a useful idiot, I think was the term that you used. So if you're saying it's not deliberately, then you are implying
It could be.
that I am too stupid and too naive and lack the intelligence to know what I am doing. That is extremely offensive.
You're on state TV all the time. Why do you go on Fox TV? Fox Channel.
I go on Tucker Carlson, go on Bret Baier, go on Sean Hannity, go on MSNBC, go on CNN. I am here to speak to every single American in this country.
Katie, I think it's safe to say that Joy had a rough week.
When you're losing the argument, just say you go on that state TV called Fox all the time. Look, I give credit to the ladies of The View and the producers for having these contentious people on for, after some of their hosts had insulted them personally and said a lot of bad things about them. The ladies threw plenty of mud their way as well. Tulsi's been on a tear in trying to clear her name after Hillary Clinton accused her of being a Russian asset, and then people like Joy Behar, of course, jumped right on that bandwagon and agreed because for some reason, I don't know why, Hillary Clinton's not running again for president, but they're still defending her. So, look, it's nice to see everything aired out in the open. Don Jr. brought the receipts on ABC, on Joy Behar's costume choices, et cetera, et cetera.
And he's out there trying to sell a book, and it's probably working.
First of all, I just want to say, Juan, I'm very disappointed you didn't prepare for the segment and watch the entire interview. On The View today. I did, and I took notes, and I wrote down, very difficult to watch at times. The conversation got very heated, very emotional.
Very personal.
The volume level kept getting higher. I think at one point Whoopi used a bell to get in there and stop everybody. I think there was some good and there was some bad moments. There was probably more bad than good. Good points, bad points were made. It went off the rails at times. And my final point, Greg Gutfeld, was that I fear that that table at The View may look like a lot of Thanksgiving dinner table this coming holiday based on the political environment that we're in today. Hopefully not. No politics at the dinner table, right?
No, because it's bad for climate change. So we're not actually going to Thanksgiving. It is amazing how personal everything becomes to Joy. How ironic her name is Joy when she's so miserable. If you don't agree with her, she thinks you're either stupid or evil. And I think that's the hard part about it. I don't see that with Whoopi. I think Whoopi actually tries to understand people.
She's more of a moderator in that role.
Yeah, but I felt uncomfortable, but I was at the gym too, so I'm normally uncomfortable there.
Yes.
I just quickly.
Everyone's also uncomfortable.
Let me just quickly say, in both cases, I think they got great ratings with this highly contentious. But Tulsi's getting 1.5% from Democrats. When
She'll
says
be on
she's
the debate
talking,
stage in December, by
she's
the way.
right. But guess what? It's the far right that takes credit for her number because it's the Russian bots. That's who boosts her. I don't understand how anybody can say she's not an asset.
Okay. Wow.
She's an asset to the Democratic Party.
Yes.
No, to the Republicans if they want a third party run to diminish and split opposition to Trump.
Juan, we've had enough Joy Behar. Let's keep moving on. All right.
Mr. Trump, a lot of Americans in politics miss character, and a lot of people miss the soul of this country. You and your family have hurt a lot of people and put a lot of people through a lot of pain, including the Khan family, who is a Gold Star family that I think should be respected for the loss of their son. Does all of this make you feel good?
I don't think any of that makes me feel good, but I do think that we got into this because we wanted to do what's right for America. My father has been working tirelessly to bring back the American dream, who've watched politicians with no business experience send that American dream abroad to countries that hate our guts. He's brought jobs back. He's created unprecedented levels of unemployment numbers for African Americans, for Hispanic Americans. This is fact. Look, you can argue it, but this is fact.
No, it's not fact.
For women, if you ask a question, let me finish it.
Yep.
For women, all-time high startup businesses. So I understand that he's controversial. I understand that he's offended a lot of people, but I also understand he took on the establishment, and that's the premier sin in American politics these days, to do that.
I do want to know, the question, I understand.
By the way, I'm not happy that people interpret it that way. I don't think that's our intention.
Character in and again, I will let you speak. Character in politics, I believe, is important. It was how I was raised. It's the way I view the lens of America. And I understand what you're saying about policy, but when you're talking about attacking Gold Star families who have given the ultimate sacrifice more than any of in this room have given, and you put them through pain, does it make you feel
and I know he
like
does a
this
lot
was
with Gold
worth
Star
it?
families, and he calls a lot of those Gold Star families, and he has a lot of care for those
And with
people.
angel moms.
When he's under constant attack by the same people, when he's under attack by the establishment, when he's under attack by this, the reality is this: he's a counterpuncher. And as a conservative, I would hope that you would appreciate that conservatives haven't been known for fighting back for a very long time. They've ceded ground to the liberals and the liberal elite for decades by not actually fighting back. So I understand we can keep going back to character. I think he has great character. I think my family has character.
Her father.
I understand that, and I'm sorry about that. And they did have differences. I agree with that.
But I think just
and again, I'm sorry for the loss. I think you lost your aunt last night, so I do apologize for that as well.
Last night. Yes, I did.
McCain Morgan.
Thank you. It's just, for me, it would not have been worth it. This would not have been worth it. And I think people can go to the moment when my dad had stopped someone from saying Obama was a Muslim, and the pain, inflicting pain on so many people wouldn't have been worth it to me or my family to the White House. So I just want to know, is it worth it?
Well, listen, I think it depends on the hat that I'm wearing. You know, for me as a citizen, as a father of kids in New York City, you know, it hasn't exactly been, you know, peaches and cream for us either. But you know what, it is worth it when I do go around the country and I see people who are affected by these policies, who are getting to live their American dream again, who are seeing wage growth for the lowest levels go up. When I see it happening with those people, and they tell me their stories, how they're so happy that they voted for my father, that they're so happy that he actually had the guts to take on those people, to not just accept the status quo, to not just accept that.
Now a show.
Yeah. So here's what I would say. I understand. I know your father for so many years. I considered him, yes, and your grandmother. And I tell you, no finer human being. I considered him my friend. I miss him. I understand your loss. Yesterday was the anniversary of my mother passing. I lost my father Thanksgiving night. He woke me up with a kiss and said, "Princess, I know this is a hard day for you." It breaks my heart to hear anybody say anything about your father. I understand that. And I know how difficult it is. And I know how difficult it is for him. When everybody is attacking his family, they're out in front of our apartment, they want to put him in jail. I understand that, having lost both my parents to cancer. This is tough. I would like there to be more civility.
Can somebody just say they're sorry?
Personal attacks.
Can somebody just say they're sorry?
And I honor your father's service.
So my final note, and then I don't have any more questions for you, is just, if you believe that, and Kimberly, we worked together and I do know you, try and bring civility back then. You can do it. You have this, you're in the White House.
And you're right. And you know what, guys? It it goes both ways. And can you imagine, honestly, and you know, you guys, you ran for president. It was absolutely brutal. They're up for re-election again. 93% negative coverage in the mainstream media about President Trump. They don't want to talk about the successes. I know the president. I know their family for 14
you guys are at the top.
years.
You guys
I stand for them like I
Suck it
stand for
up.
you and your family.
Yeah,
I get
but in all fairness, for 8 years of Obama, there was zero criticism for anything.
I'm sorry. Now, what you can't do is you can't change the past. Obama became president, and the first thing that was said to him from the other side is, we're going to make sure you're a one-term president. We're not going to do anything to help. Well, I'm sorry, wait. I just want to say, who said it? I believe Mitch McConnell said it.
Mitch McConnell said it.
Guys.
And that you can look up.
But guys, look at what's going on right now.
But I'm just saying to you that this is part of being president. I'm sorry,
19 minutes after inauguration.
Listen,
Come on, guys.
Part of being president is having a pair that can take whatever heat comes towards you.
I promise you, my father's got a pair, and no sitting president has taken the heat that Donald Trump has taken.
That is bulldog. Yes. Stop. Go, Joy.
Okay, just to her point, he also called Mexicans rapists. He made.
He
Wait a
said
second.
that some coming across the border are, and that's a fact. Look at what's going on at the border.
Let her finish. Let her finish.
Called some Mexicans rapists. He attacked the handicapped. He bragged about
also
it.
not true.
Listen, we heard the access. Hold on. We heard the accessed tape where he bragged about grabbing women by their genitalia. She's talking about, that's what Megyn is talking about. She's talking about lowering the discourse to his level, which is horrible for this country. Even if people are working, we don't want to have a country like that. Do you understand that?
We've all
they don't
done
like
things.
the vessel or the Samaritan, so they
You know,
twist. But nevertheless, look at the result.
We've all done things that we regret. I mean, if we're talking about bringing a discourse down, Joy, you've worn blackface. Whoopi,
No,
you
I
said
haven't.
that Roman Polanski.
I'm sorry, and don't. If
you
you
said
do
that
it.
Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape when he raped a child. So let's talk about
let's
things.
talk
Come on,
about
that's
this.
not
So you
fair.
want to bring this up? The question came up.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
Sorry. Listen, being black, I recognize blackface. This I can say. Okay? I know it when I see it.
Back me up on that.
So now that you've broken this piece of ice, because I guess this is the fight you wanted.
It's not the fight I want.
Yeah, it is.
But if we're talking about character, if we're talking about these
are you
things,
questioning my character?
I'm not questioning your character. I'm talking about you're questioning my father's character.
I'm
and
not,
I say
I'm
we
sorry,
all have done
I didn't
and said
question
things.
anybody. I simply said that when you're talking about that your father's taken more heat than anybody else, that it's not so. Instead,
as a president,
yes, as a president,
That's
yes,
ridiculous.
He's getting crushed every day.
I think
He's
the Central Park 5 took a lot more heat than your father has taken at his hand.
By the way,
Name a president who's taken more heat than my
everybody
father.
stop.
record
Hold
criminal
up,
justice reform
hold
first
up.
back. President Trump.
Recently, you've been very outspoken about how Hunter Biden has benefited from nepotism.
Yes.
And you say, I wish my name was Hunter Biden. I could make millions off of my father's presidency. And your father tweeted this. He said, your father encourages people to buy your book. I think that's benefiting from your dad's presidency, but not that my opinion matters, but let's talk about 2020, because you do talk about 2020 in your book.
The show?
No, 2020. He talks about 2020.
Can I address Hunter Biden
ABC
first? Because,
plug.
listen, I get that I'm the son of a rich guy from New York. I understand that. My father has done a lot. You know, I've benefited from that as Hunter Biden has. The difference is we did that as a private company. When we got into international politics, the second my father won the presidency, he said, we will not do new foreign deals going forward. Hunter Biden utilized his father's vice presidency to magically end up on a board in Ukraine with a language he doesn't speak, on a business he knows nothing about for $83,000 a month. If I did that, you guys would lose your minds. Understandably, and you'd be right.
Can I push back on that a little bit?
So we stopped.
Can I push back a little bit? Because the D.C. hotel, your father's D.C. hotel, opened up just a couple of weeks after his election.
I'm glad you asked.
And you've actually made, I think, according to your father's financial report, he earned about $40.8 million million, just a minute, from his D.C. hotel in 2018. The Attorney General is going to hold a $30,000 holiday party at the D.C. hotel. A lobbying firm with ties to the Saudi government paid $270,000 to the hotel between October 2016 and March 2017.
It's a nice hall.
Well, listen, let me
thank
say
God
that,
he's
but-
president. He knows
but
how to
I'm
make
glad
a
you brought
buck.
it up, because these are
So
the details.
the bottom line is you have made money.
But let me finish. These are the details that the
From your
media
father's
always neglects.
presidency.
Yes, we're in the hotel business. We have been for decades. That's not a secret. When we take money from a foreign entity, in D.C., most of it's foreign entities, right? The government-related foreign entities, when they come, we literally stroke a check back to the U.S. Treasury. We spend more money on accountants than we can make from this to make sure we're doing that right, because we can't do that. My father gives back his entire salary to the U.S. Treasury to be put towards causes, whether it was alcoholism, whether it was the Department of Interior. So we're literally not making money from any of those foreign governments. We're giving it back to the Treasury. And by the way, there's
But you
an
are
opportunity.
making money from the hotel based on the
We're
presidency.
in the hotel business.
All
There's
right,
nothing
say
to,
something.
like, we're giving back.
That's not a
that's
crime.
what we've
Take a
done.
breath.
All right,
That's not a crime.
guys,
They have a duty
We
and
didn't
obligation to
become,
honor their
like, unlike
business
Hunter
contracts.
Biden, we didn't become international businessmen
let's-
magically
let's-
when we got in office.
Listen,
All right,
don't
and that's
do
something that no one talks about.
Don't do that.
We stopped
Excuse
doing
me. Thank you. The cross-talking is making everyone crazy. When I hit the bell, it's to keep y'all from cross-talking. Please stop.
I'm new here, sorry.
That's all right.
Let's get
I
back to
thought we'd get a
2020.
snack pack and a Capri
Who do you hope runs against your dad?
You know, honestly, it doesn't matter that much to me. I mean, I sort of believe that the American people, and again, I understand with full disclaimer, I'm the son of a rich guy from New York, but, you know, I spent a lot of
Not
time
that
in Middle
rich.
America. Yes. No. Perfect. You're right. Man of the people. But I do spend a lot of time in Middle America. I spend a lot of time there, and honestly, people are happy.
Yeah.
They see the results. They see wages going up. You have no idea how many Democrats come up to me and say, Don, I wish they'd let him do his job.
But Donald,
and that's
Don,
the problem. The Democratic Party has left the working class that they used to represent.
That's not true.
The
By
issues
the way,
that
you
they're
know,
pushing
he seems
today.
to be petrified of Joe Biden. Joe Biden's
He's not.
beating him in a lot of polls.
not.
He's scared of Joe
Listen,
Biden.
Joe Biden doesn't know
Why
what
is
state
he
he's
talking
in
to the
50% of the
Ukraine
time.
Joe
to get
Biden-
stuff on
Come on,
Biden?
in all
Joe
fairness,
Biden has 20 people
So you know what?
working
Here's the
with
thing.
teleprompter
It would be
in Ohio
easier
or
to have
Iowa.
this conversation.
It's true,
We
fact.
would be easier to have this conversation if we could do it without the jokes.
What joke?
Because the jokes are making it hard to
Who
hear
said a
anybody's
joke?
points.
No, but
Who
listen,
said a joke?
we have to be able to
About-
have that kind of discourse. I mean, look at what's
Yeah.
going on in terms of PC culture. This is where I talk
No
about
such
the book.
thing.
There is.
No.
Joy, what do you think about, like, Dave Chappelle or Burr or those guys getting canceled? I mean, you're a stand-up comic.
I know, that's
Do you-
Dave
do you
Chappelle
believe-
was not canceled.
They
Dave
are.
Chappelle
there
took
are
himself
leftists
out.
that are out there
Can we-
trying to stop these guys from
Go
having
ahead.
free
Can we-
speech,
can-
from
I-
being
I-
funny.
I-
Whose side are you on that one? Because I want to know.
I'm on the
because-
side of free speech and comedy. Comedy rules. Let the comedians do their thing. You're not a comedian.
All right, I want to end on a light note.
Well, he's
do it.
kind
Oh.
of funny.
When are you guys tying the knot?
Oh my God.
That's
We get the president reelected.
He
Yeah.
has fired
It's
his
got-
We got one goal for
Partners
2020,
together.
okay? But no,
Amazing.
Kimberly's
We live together.
Kimberly's been an amazing.
Modern
She
family.
understands this world, and unfortunately, my world has drastically changed from what I was used to before politics and everything. And to be able to do this stuff, I like to joke on the campaign trail. My big sacrifice for America is having to travel with Kimberly.
Fake news.
I can't say that on this stage without getting destroyed. But it's been amazing to be able to do that. And she has such a good grasp of and being able to speak to people. I sort of say, when you need a sledgehammer, I'm pretty good. When you need some subtlety and nuance, that's where she really steps in and does an amazing
Can I
job.
answer on something real quick, Whoopi, to just say about character? Because I grew up in the Mission District where you filmed Sister Act at St. Paul's at one of my parishes there.
Right.
I know the president for 13. I know Don Jr. I'm proud Latina, Hispanic, Boricua, 64% Native American Indian. I know the measure of the man, and I know his character. Maybe there's some things
Who,
that he
him
said or
or the
done.
other one?
Both of them, the entire family. I stand for them because I do believe their commitment. Women are doing better under President Trump. Hispanics, African Americans. That's not fake news. It's real. Women entrepreneurs.
Are you going to
So
be able to work
I
on
will
this?
just say this
I
because
work
it
on
is the end of the show.
Oh, praise the Lord.
I don't think it is, Whoop. I don't think it is.
What's the ball?
It's the end of this show.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we still have time.
Thank you for coming. The new book, Triggered, is out now.